Hello and welcome back. My name is John Osborne and I teach guitar here at 4-4 School of Music. Today we're going to talk about the key of D major. Last week we went over the scale of D major, two octave D major scale, which goes like this. Okay, and hopefully you've practiced that with a whatever speed tempo, whatever speed of the tempo you want. All right, I'm not concerned about how fast you can go or how slow you can go, as long as you are consistent with a tempo. Okay, because timing is very important, and we're going to get to why rhythm is sometimes even more important than the notes you're actually playing. That'll be later. But today we're going to focus on what makes the key of D major on a guitar. Okay, so the scale is kind of our foundation. Those tell us what notes we're going to use to form our chords. Okay, and the reason why I had you do it 2 octaves is because a chord most of the time on guitar contains more than just 1 octave of notes. So this is your D major chord. And as we can see, there's a D right there. There's a D right there. That's already 1 octave. So this high F sharp, that's going over an octave. And you got an A right there. The D major chord includes a D, F sharp, and an A. So that's what I meant when I said most chords on guitar go past an octave. So that's why it's good to practice double octave scales so you can have a better understanding of where all your notes are. Okay, so there's our 1 chord, 1 being the root. So we're in D major, the 1 chord is going to be D major. Okay, and from there on up, we base the chords off of our notes in our scale. And some of them have different qualities, meaning minor, major, diminished, augmented, and so forth. There's a lot of different types of chords out there, but those are the 4 main qualities of chords. So since we're in a major key, the 1 chord is always going to be major. So that's why in this key, D is our major chord. Okay, so if we're going along with the scale, your next chord will be E, right? Because we have to stay within the alphabet. We can't have double note names, and we'll run into an issue where you could be confused on that. So D, next letter in the alphabet is E. Okay? E in this key is going to be minor, because when you look at on a piano, the distance, the intervallic relationship between what makes the E chord in that key, it'll be minor, and we'll look at that more as time goes on. So you know what an E minor is. It's probably the first chord you learned. There's a couple different fingerings you can do. I call it like the Spider-Man fingering. It kind of looks like I'm Spider-Man. You can easily just do 2nd fret, 2nd string with your 1st finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string with your 2nd finger. Curve your hand out so that you're not getting any of that sound. Just a pure E minor chord. You can hear every string. It's that nice classic E minor chord. I like to do the Spider-Man shape. I don't know. I mean, you can do whatever shape you want, really. In fact, I encourage you to do more than one way so you can get equal strength in your fingers. So anyway, there's your 2nd chord. So 1st chord is D. Oh, and D you can do that different shape. You won't really need that unless you want to include some different notes on the bottom, which you won't have to worry about that right now. So our third chord's a bar chord, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but in this case, so D, E, F. F's our next note. But because it's major, we know that the third note is raised a half step. So this is going to be an F sharp minor. It's minor in this case because of the intervallic relationship between each of the notes. So, to do a bar chord, and this is just review, take your first finger, practice barring the whole thing and making sure your thumb is really crunched up there, but the neck of the guitar isn't completely in the palm of your hand, because you want that thumb there to be your anchor. So what I like to do is practice bar chords like this. See, I'm getting a little buzz in there. Might just be my intonation. If you can get all the notes sounding good there, then a bar chord is a piece of cake. You just apply a shape to the bar chord, which we've been over the basic shapes in one of our first lessons. So in this case, you just add your third finger on 4th fret, 2nd string, and third finger, 4th fret, 2nd string, 4th finger, 4th fret, 3rd string, and now you get this lovely chord. Such a nice F sharp minor chord, very somber by itself. You know, within D major, you're going to find that it's really pretty. But there's your third chord, okay? Fourth chord, you knew this, or you know this from the first lesson. D, E, F sharp. What's the next note in our alphabet? G, okay? That's the standard way to do a G. Some people do this. I was taught a very long time ago a cheat G. It's not that good. I mean, if you're really lazy and want to use your thumb more, you just have to make sure you mute the string, otherwise it'll sound like this. Where's the root? It's really crunchy down there. But there we go. That's the safe way to do G. Alright, so let's review. We have 4 out of the 4 chords so far. Well, really there's only 7, but I'm going to show you a different way to do D so that you have 2 options. So really there's going to be 8 chords. So we have D, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, okay? Now, if we can take a guess what our next chord is, just go along with the scale. D, E, F sharp, G. The next note in our alphabet, nope, it's not H. We restart. So in our music, the only name notes we need to worry about in music are A through G. And then there are sharps and flats between, depending what key you're in and what your function is. So your next one's A. So after G, it just restarts. So you know how to do an A major chord. There's a few ways to put your fingerings together. That's what I think is the most common way. You know, it's kind of like, you know, your foam finger at a baseball game, I guess. I personally, since my fingers are kind of big, I just do that. You can also do it this way, like holding a cup of tea if you're at a fancy tea party, pinky out, or foam finger at a baseball game, or my lame way. Okay, so there's the 5 chord. You know, we've got D, E minor, F sharp minor, G, A. So that's the 5th chord of our key. Okay, so our 6th chord is a bar chord. This is the shape, B minor. Maybe we've gone over B minor. If not, it's quite simple. 2nd fret, you know, make sure you get all the notes clear. You don't have to worry about the thick string or the bottom string right now. You start on, this is your first note, right? That's the B. And then you apply this shape. So, 4th fret, 3rd finger, 3rd string, 4th finger, 4th fret, G string, 2nd finger, 3rd fret, B string. and then you just bar the rest of it so you can get this note on the bottom. That's a B minor. Very sad by itself, but when you play D major, the key, within whatever song you want, you'll notice this chord has a lot of emotional power. You know, there are basic songs out there that don't even mess with the chord, and they're all happy. Watch what happens when I put the chord in. It makes it more dramatic. Okay, so that's why that chord's really important. All right, our next chord is one that you're probably not going to use a lot, at least in your typical pop, rock, country, worship kind of genres. But it's part of the scale, so we have to make sure we know how to at least do it. Okay, so let's see. We've got D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. But we know in our D major scale, that's not a C, that's a C sharp. So this is the only chord in the scale of any major key. For, you know, just to reiterate that, any major key, your seventh chord will always be diminished. Now this shape is a little weird and it takes a little bit to get used to, but basically take your B minor shape, move it up 2 frets, because C sharp is the 4th fret of the A string. Put that right there, and you're going to kind of rearrange your fingers a little bit, because what makes a diminished chord is that you lower the 5th of your chord. Okay, so in this case, you're going to put your 2nd finger on the 5th fret of the D string, 4th finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and then your 3rd finger on the 5th fret of the B string. And this isn't really a bar chord. You don't have to do this, but just with these 4 notes, like, whoa, that kind of sounds weird, huh? Yeah, it's not used a lot in normal radio genres, but if used correctly, it could be really dramatic. But for the sake of learning the entire D scale and all the chords in it, you just have to know it. Okay, so that's that shape. That's what a basic diminished shape looks like anywhere on guitar. You know, you go up a fret, it's D diminished, go back 2, it's C, so on. All right, and our last chord of our scale is D major again, because we've gone through the whole alphabet, the whole musical alphabet. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Okay? We've already done a D, right? You're like, John, I already know a D. You're right, but I'm going to show you a different D. Okay? The bar version of D. All right? I basically just do this. 1st fret, 5th string on the, drawing a blank. 5th fret, A string, 1st finger. And then with your 3rd finger, I mean, if you have small enough fingers, you can just make an A major shape and move up to the 7th fret. But since my fingers are big, I just do a little mini bar. I do a mini bar chord. So with my 3rd finger, I do 7th fret, A string, 7th fret, D string, 7th fret, G string. And that's another way to do a D. Now, listen to the difference between these two. It's very different, right? So now you know 2 different D majors. So now that we've gone through all these chords, just like we worked on the major scale in a good, consistent tempo, now we're going to do all the chords in a row in a good tempo. And I messed up one of the chords. I added something that shouldn't have been there. So just take a metronome. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, Okay, and there you have it. That is all the chords in D major, what they look like, what notes are in them, how to find them on guitar, and just use our brain as far as thinking about how we get there, how we figure out what chords are in this key. So, hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll get your exercises written out for the week so you can be very proficient in all these chords. And that when you do get to that point and you feel comfortable transitioning between all of them, look up any song you want, pop, rock, country, worship, anything in that field, and if you have to transpose it to D, if you have to, if the song's not originally in D, you'll realize that once you learn all these chords, you can pretty much play any song you want in that key. So anyway, thank you, and we'll see you next time.